Hello there, friends. Welcome back. You know, it's fun when in a creative pursuit you find yourself unexpectedly inspired to go down a little creative rabbit hole that you did not anticipate. And this video is a bit like that for me. I saw a video earlier this week from SleepStories ASMR. It was very simple. She was just playing with marbles, but seeing all those marbles reminded me of this. And I found myself a bit compelled to dig it out of the cabinet that it was hiding in for years and try to do a little show and tell about it. As you can probably tell, it is a homemade game board. It's made to play the game that's sometimes called Aggravation, although there are a lot of variations on this theme. And you can probably tell that it is made from a piece of wooden countertop material with this white surface on the top and these little gold flecks in the surface. You can't see the edge very well because of the shadow, but you can hear that it's a rough particle board, kind of countertop material with all of these little angled holes drilled into it, some of them painted for the marbles to go. I think there's a lot of nostalgia that comes from just seeing a material like this, because many of us grew up in homes with kitchens with this kind of a counter surface in them. In fact, I posted a picture of this board to Twitter a couple of days ago, and several people commented that just seeing the board reminded them of their grandparents because they saw that exact same material in their grandparents' homes years ago. And I'm in that boat as well. This was in our home when I was a kid, and it was made by a distant relative who I can't name and not sure that I even met. But it occurred to me when I was reminded of this board that two of my favorite sounds associated with playing games, simple games with other people, come from this game, and other games, of course, too. And that's rolling dice and moving marbles around. So I thought we could show this board today and roll some dice and move some marbles around and muse a little bit about the topics that come to mind when we do so. So I have a few marbles here. You will notice, or hopefully you'll notice, that some of these marbles are cracked. Like this one. My mom, did ceramics when I was growing up, and she would do ceramic lamps. And a cracked marble was a very typical decorative item that you would use in a ceramic lamp. You would bake the marbles for a while in an oven. And then, after they got hot, you'd put them in cold water. And the thermal shock would crack the glass like this. So we always had a lot of cracked marbles around the house when I was growing up, and oftentimes we would use them to play Aggravation with. I also have some non-cracked marbles in this little bowl. This one kind of looks like a planet. Of course, cracking a marble weakens it quite a bit. When you just, stick one on a pineapple lamp with some glue and leave it alone, they're generally fine. But when you try marching them around a wooden game board, sometimes they don't fare as well. So we have some shrapnel here from some marbles that didn't quite make it. So we're playing with marbles and a wood board, and you know what some of these sounds are like. We'll try to keep them as subtle as we can, but some of them might be a little sharp. Now with Aggravation, without going into too much detail on the rules, this game is all about marching our team of marbles around this cross-shaped pattern to try to get them into this home base area by exact count. And along the way, if you land on an opponent's marble, it sends their marble back to their base. Hence the name of the game. That's called aggravating the marble, or in many cases, the opposing player. Now I'm going to put a non-cracked marble here in this spot. We're not actually going to play this game, but I do want to roll some dice and march a marble around this board, and we're going to use this solid marble to do that so that we don't bust another one of these cracked marbles here on camera. I've got a couple of dice here. They do not match. Now we only need one dice for this game, but one of my favorite sounds is a pair of dice in hand being readied for the throw. Now I'm not going to roll dice on this board because I think that'll be a little bit too sharp. So I'll roll the dice off frame on the little towel that we have here, and I'll tell you what the dice says, and we'll move marbles around accordingly, okay? I'll just pick one of the dice to read. I think you needed a special number, like a 6 or a 1 or one or the other, to move a marble from your home base here to the starting spot here. But I don't remember exactly what that is, so we'll just go ahead and start one. Then we'll roll and move and roll and move while we muse about some things, okay? And I hope you enjoy it. We start with a 3. Ooh, big number 6. 4, 5, 6. You know, it's kind of funny how it's a number 1. You know, the things that we think about are informed by our experiences and what we've seen in life and what we've gone through. Our perspective changes as our context in life changes. That's a number 4. 1, 2. And when I was reminded of this board, and when I saw it again, the number one thing that I kept thinking about, it's a 4, was that I wonder who the guy was who made this thing. I think he was a distant relative on my father's side. But I found myself really preoccupied with wondering about him, wondering, is this the only board he made? He clearly had some sort of a wood shop, at least some tools that would enable him to create something like this. Maybe this was his thing. Maybe he loved making boards like this and giving them to family members. 3. So I wondered, it hit the bowl with a number 2. If he made more than one of these boards, are any of them still around besides this one? Are any of them still used? 4. Or are they all forgotten? Or lost? Thrown away? 4. I wonder if this is the only one. I wonder if this piece of countertop material with these holes is one of the only pieces of him still around. You know, none of us live forever, and we think about legacy and leaving a hopefully favorable impression on those around us. Two. I wonder if this board is in some ways that gentleman's legacy. And you think about the fact that there was no internet when that person lived, and when this board was made, and when probably most of the games were played on this board. And now, number 4. And now the internet is letting people all over the world see this countertop material again, and see these gold flecks, and see all of these holes so carefully drilled, and the curve of the circle so carefully cut out. And we're able to hear these sounds again, and maybe seeing these things and hearing these things might help one person get to sleep tonight, or might help one person focus or do their job a little bit better. Or 4. Or might help one person deal with some stress in their busy day a little bit better. 2. And when we think about legacy, and we think about impact, isn't that an interesting impact for whoever made this board? What an interesting and unexpected, perhaps even unlikely, impact on the world that person had. 5. I would play this game with some people who like to slide their marble from spot to spot instead of lifting it. Let's remember this spot right here. They would go, I don't know if that's a better sound or not. A 2. Four. We're getting into the home stretch now. Most versions of this game that I've played required you to get into these spots by exact count, and the difficulty of doing that is one of the things that makes the game a little bit longer. I don't know if we'll do that here. We'll see if we get lucky with the numbers. Of course, I'm cheating a little bit because I've got 2 dice to choose from. Maybe I should just pick one. But I've got a 3, so we can use that. A 2. 1, 2. So, in a real game, this marble would be at its final destination and would not move again. Why don't we take this marble that looks like a planet and march it around the board as well. Hopefully we're enjoying these sounds and textures, and don't mind going one more around. My recollection is that that distant relative who made this board painted the 4 home base colors, the green here, the red or faded red here, the white here, and the blue over here. I don't think he did the yellow and the black. I think I did these many, many years later after reading the actual aggravation rules. I think some variations of the rules treat these inside corners as safe spots, meaning your marble cannot be aggravated if they're sitting in one of these spots. And I think some rules treat this center spot as a shortcut that will let you hop to a later portion of the board much more quickly, depending on your die roll. So I think I might have added the color to these 5 spots. I don't know if this is paint or highlighter. This might be black marker for all I know. Kind of adds to the homegrown appeal of it, I suppose. But hey, let's roll some more dice. Oh, let's start a marble. Again, we're not really following the rules here. We're here for sounds and textures, so I hope you don't mind. 4. 4. I love the handmade nature of this. I love the notion that a person would, go into their garage and make something for the sole purpose of bringing people together and having fun, you know? I mean, in general, I love the notion of people making their own fun, making their own entertainment. Two. I think that's a valuable skill. 5. You know, something like this might seem really simple. Maybe too simple, too old-fashioned for a modern age. But I really think there's more here than just nostalgia. You know, I really think a game like this is the power of a game like this is not about strategy. This isn't a game about strategy. I've got a 4. A game like this is not about critical thinking. A game like this is not about going into the tank and thinking really hard, about what the next best move needs to be to get a competitive edge over your opponents. 1. You know, I really think that the point of a simple game like this is not even the game itself. 2. Because the power of a game like this is that it gets people around the table, right? And it gives them something simple and fun to do while they get to interact with each other too. And look each other in the eye and laugh together and ask each other how they're doing and be able to listen to the tone of voice when they answer and be able to empathize and hear the truths that are not spoken and maybe ask that second question and help when you need to help, and all of these things that come from simply being in the same space as the people you care about, or maybe even new people that you haven't met before. 5. In that sense, the game is just, well, it's an enabler, isn't it? It's a tool, it's a bridge. It's an excuse to get people around a table and get them interacting with each other, which can then, I feel, lead to other things, stronger bonds from human to human, better friendships and relationships, better ability to understand each other when you're doing non-trivial things and important things. 4. Three. 4. You know, there's such a there's so many good things about our interconnectedness these days. How technology in so many ways has brought us closer together. 3. But there's a lot of negativity culture that comes with that. A lot of drama culture, 2. And I know it might sound a little utopian or naive, perhaps, but 3. I do wonder sometimes how much of that negativity culture might be diffused or diluted too. If more people would just sit around a table with a homemade aggravation board in the middle and just look at each other in the eye and ask how they're doing, you know? I've got a 2. Now, in a real game, I could not move this to its final location unless I rolled a 1. I wasn't cheating, guys. This really came up as a 1. He's home. The point here with this video is not to make a very long video, just a quick exploration of these sounds. I hope this triggers some sort of a memory for you, perhaps a memory of learning something from one of your grandparents across a kitchen counter, very much like this. Or maybe memories of playing these simpler games with our families. You know, when kids are young and they can't yet understand complicated games, maybe that's the time most families end up playing the simpler games like these. So maybe seeing marbles and a simple board reminds us of a time when we were a kid, before things got so complicated, right? In any event, I hope you've enjoyed this show and tell. And thanks to SleepStories ASMR for inadvertently inspiring me to dig this board out and have a little fun with it today. Be well, friends. Look forward to seeing you next time.